I think theater companies, especially these days, most theater companies have good intentions and they're trying. And they would like to cast as diverse cast as possible. So assuming that their intentions are in the right place, the challenge is usually twofold then. The challenge number one is financial. So they still got to sell enough tickets, and like stars sell tickets. And so there's this weird, unfortunate self-fulfilling prophecy where like famous people get more jobs. It's like, well, famous people get more jobs. How do other people become famous? How do other people even get a chance? So I think with like musical theater in particular, I think all of us should just be less precious about our shows. There's like something about like, oh, I saw, I don't know, I saw Wicked this way, done this way, and so I can't ever see it done any other way. I think like the way that they license, I don't know, I'm gonna get weird and like businessy for a second, but I think the way that shows
Yeah.
are licensed is a huge part of the problem, right? Like these publishing companies, they say like, why are there no, community theater or even regional theater productions of Wicked or Hamilton, right? It's because they are very, very protective of their product, and they're so protective and precious about their intellectual property. That is an outdated business model. I'm sorry, that's an outdated business model. Every other form of media and art is starting to move past that, and musical theater is stuck, in the previous century. And they're like, oh, if you're going, we can't let you do a regional theater production of Hamilton because that'll make people buy less tickets to the Broadway production of Hamilton. No, that's totally false. It's totally false. Like rising tides lift all boats, right? Like I would love to see an all Asian production of Hamilton. I would love to see an all Latinx production of Hamilton. I would love to see an all queer production of Hamilton, or any other show, right? Also, like I'm a writer and I am very, very protective of my work, but I also like we are starting to live more and more in a remix culture, and musical theater has not caught up to that yet. And we are so protective of the book and the text, and you can't change anything. Like, no, some things need to be changed. If there's something like Miss Saigon is a show that I grew up having a lot of respect and reverence for because it the music was beautiful, and Lea Salonga was this amazing star. There's a lot of really problematic stuff in that show.
There is.
And I right now our choices are either to do it exactly like all of the rich white producers want us to do the show, or to like cancel the show and never have it done again. Like that there are tons of people who would be incredibly capable of like rewriting this show, right? Reimagining it. So like, why don't we open ourselves up to a little bit of that remix culture, that reimagining culture, particularly in musical theater? We have to be less precious about this stuff if we're going to move forward. Yeah. And also we need to take a chance on new shows. Enough adaptations, enough redoing a show that was already done 10 years ago. I'll take a chance on new shows, take a chance on new writers. I'll stop there. I got really excited.
Love it. No. I'm so with you on everything you said. Thank you for saying it.
If I asked someone to represent a human being in a single movie or a single show, it'd be impossible, right? You'd be like, what? That's impossible. So if I asked you or anyone else to represent an Asian American experience in one show, that would also be impossible. So the first thing is volume. This is one of those cases where like quantity does help with quality. Like we need different kinds of representation. We can't just have, I would love, like we don't have any lead roles right now. That's why like Vanguard casting me as Harold Hill was amazing. I was so grateful to that. But I also don't want a world in which Asians all play leads. Actually, that would be kind of cool for a little while. But like we are not always heroes, right? We can be villains, we can be side characters, we can be background characters, we can definitely be heroes. So different kinds of roles, right? Like cutting away stereotypes is like one thing. Some really harmful normalizing, exactly. Another like some really harmful things, I'll go back to particularly stereotypes in America, is objectification. So any show now where that shows like Asian Americans or Asian women as just objects to be desired by someone else with like no agency on their own. We need to stop that. We got to stop that. It's so harmful, and it's not fair, and it's not right. For Asian men, the big struggle has been emasculation. So like painting, Asian men as like not objects, as not subjects of a romantic story, right? How many movies have you seen that had like an Asian guy kissing someone? It's like Crazy Rich Asians, and then that's it. That's the only movie anyone's ever seen. That's crazy, right? So like we have to, like, we're capable of falling in love, capable of getting into fights. We're capable of putting on a suit and being in the Avengers. There needs to be more Asian people in the Marvel movies in particular, because I love the Marvel movies. And I think when people think about representation, they always think about like, oh, but you have this Asian show, or you have this other thing, and those are great. But like, we don't just need like Asian shows. We need Asian people in Black shows. We need Asian people in white shows. We need like different. We need to start mixing it up, right? Like,
and maybe we can get to a point where we don't have to call them Black.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly. They're just like stories about people.
Stories. They're just stories about people.